And I think intellectuals tend to underestimate the intelligence of the ordinary people.
That's quite true.
Poland and Hungary have exactly the same problem. Some, like Klaus, want to move to free markets right away. Others still hanker after socialist control of the markets.
Those who use the word naive citizens, they are the interventionist economists and the other. So this is my speech in the parliament half an hour ago. So for us it's everyday debate, discussion, exactly.
Political power is limited, but economic power is not limited. And you can have, if you have one millionaire, you can have another millionaire, you can have another millionaire, without anybody else being worse off. In fact, everybody else will be better off. And it seems to me, again, that the people understand that. I can't believe that your ordinary people here don't. They know. Overnight you can make a change if you only get the government off the back of the people. Where are we heading?
We're heading up, all the way up here.
Fine. We'll get there.
Let's not get any more gas than we need to.
What is it? It's about $1 a liter, which makes it about $4 a gallon of gas.
In these countries, the hardest problem is to transform their heavy industries. This is Nowa Huta, a vast collection of steel mills in Poland, and a disaster in every sense. It's inefficient, costly, and above all, a major polluter. The best thing to do with places like this would be to bulldoze them, but that's almost impossible. They are too well shielded by special interests, the unions, the bureaucrats, and all the other political interests on the fringes. The communists socialized the means of production. They tried to run everything from the center. It didn't work. It was a mess and a failure. We in the United States, on the other hand, have been socializing the fruits of production.
That is, the government has been taking money from some people, the people who produce the goods and services, and giving it to other people who do not produce goods and services. The end result is likely to be the same loss of incentive and organization if we carry it too far. That's one lesson we should learn from these countries.
A year ago, the cornucopia of fruits and vegetables and other things in this street market were simply not obtainable. It's one of the first signs of the flowering of enterprise under the new regimes. This market is in Krakow, Poland.
Look at what he's got, bro. This is what you're...
Goods are readily available now only because the government eliminated price controls, allowing the market to set the prices. Like a miracle, overnight the stalls had goods for sale. This gentleman sells bulbs and seeds. He's happy in the market, but many traders would like to set up in stores and develop on a larger scale. At the moment they can't. The stores are all owned by the state. The traders are stymied unless and until the stores become private property. When they do, the market will get another boost. This youngster is 16, and he's still in high school. But this is Saturday, and he's in the market selling jeans from Thailand, making a little money for himself. He's studying to be a gardener, but when I asked him what he was going to do when he left school, he had no hesitation. He was going to be a businessman. There's the hope of Poland.
Everybody knows what needs to be done. The property that's now in the hands of the state needs to be gotten into the hands of private people who can use it in accordance with their own interests and values. The problem is how to do it. Now that you've got some degree of political freedom, there's an awful fight going on about who's going to get what share of the total pie. Everybody wants a little bigger piece. It's a political minefield. But unless that minefield can be gotten through, the game is up. It will be a failure. If it can be gotten through, Then you will have an opportunity for these resources to be used the right way for the right things. We in the West know only too well how hard it is to get the government out of something once they've been in it. And here in Poland, they've been in it for 50 years and in a much bigger way than the United States. So they got a real job on their hands.
It would be silly of us on the basis of a brief trip to try to judge how successful these countries will be in doing what no country has yet been able to do, transform a totalitarian state into a prosperous, free society. If this experiment is successful, it will not only transform Eastern Europe, it will also offer an invaluable blueprint for the economic development of many poor countries. You know, nothing is more striking than the wide differences in the standard of life of people who live in different parts of the world. Why? Not because of race, or religion, or culture, or natural resources. After all, the Chinese who live in Hong Kong and in Taiwan are of the same race and background as those who live in Red China, yet their standards of living are vastly different. The same thing is true of East Germany and West Germany, of South Korea, North Korea, of Japan before the Meiji Restoration and Japan after the Meiji Restoration. The real explanation are the economic institutions that they adopt. Free private markets versus central planning. The countries of Eastern Europe have finally overthrown their communist masters who foisted central control on them. They have the rare opportunity to write on a clean slate, to create the institutions of private property and free markets that are the only ones that have ever achieved widespread prosperity and human freedom. We in the United States, on the basis of our experience of the last 10 years, know how hard it is to cut a government down to size. We hope they succeed better than we did. If they do, we will learn as much from them as they have learned from our example.
Hello, I'm Linda Chavez. Welcome to Free to Choose. Joining Dr. Friedman for a discussion of the failure of socialism are Gary Becker of the University of Chicago and Samuel Bowles of the University of Massachusetts. Dr. Bowles, I think we can all agree that socialism has failed Eastern Europe. Dr. Friedman believes that the path out of that is the free market, and I think he thinks there are lessons for the United States. What do you think?
Well, there's much to celebrate in Eastern Europe. Not only the elimination of dictatorial rule, and I go back on that a long time. I was in the Soviet Union in the late 50s, in 58 and 59, as a musician. And I met many Russian musicians and made friends with a lot of Russian people who found themselves harassed and victimized by the police. In fact, my own musical group was prevented from singing a couple of times by the police. That's all on the way out, and we hope it's gone for good. Equally welcome is the end of this myth of the centrally planned society. That's gone too, and I hope that basically the lesson is learned. But Milton seems to think that we have to choose between either a centrally planned society or a society in which we have markets which are basically unregulated. And so the choice is really between all or nothing. I don't think that's the choice. I think what Milton is posing for us is a model which is as unrealistic as the centrally planned model. It's outdated, it won't work, it's extreme, and I think it's undemocratic. I think that we have choices in between. What Milton called the third way, a way that he said wouldn't work, has been shown to work around the world. And I think that Eastern Europe would be very ill-advised to take Milton's advice on this. The last time anybody took Milton's advice on economic policy was Ronald Reagan. And Ronald Reagan has put the U.S. economy into a situation where it can't pay its bills and is facing mounting economic instability and difficulties.